Let me get this straight. You blew up a building.
2 CIs and the CEO of 22andU.
Two competing federal agencies with the same mission.
I don't understand why those Fed a-holes are so darn mean.
To protect the public from the scourge of dangerous misinformation.
You know those bum idiots. This is all them. We had a solid case.
The word entrapment, not even in their vocabulary.
The explosives we provided were fake.
Sworn to a duty to always tell the truth.
We have no indication at this time that this was a deliberate act.
We're all being transferred.
To where?
The only place currently with openings. Alaska.
Good morning.
Welcome to the office, huh?
And we got the retro feel. You know, the funny about federal buildings, they're all different, but they're still somehow all the same.
Oh, good morning, Agent Walker. At the coffee station. We actually drew straws before he got here, and I won, so we get to work together.
Let's get started. Let's see if we can't stir something up.
Let's give it a minute. I like to warm up my truth muscles, a little coffee beforehand.
Well, what do you want to do first?
What do we have for a surveillance van?
Oh, wow. I got a Ford Explorer. We don't have a surveillance van.
Do you put many cases here?
Cases?
Yeah, cases. We're the tip of the spear when it comes to protecting American democracy.
You really believe this? You really believe that people posting crap online is going to cause our country to crumble?
I think the work that we do is important.
We don't have a surveillance van.
Me and some people got one. We've never needed one.
We need a surveillance van. We need a big case or a CI who can lead us to a big case.
What do you need the van for?
Surveillance.
CIs, or confidential informants, are the lifeblood of any good law enforcement agency. Public posts on social media are one of the best ways to find CIs. Agents would never use coercion or take things out of context to try and persuade someone to become a confidential informant.
The new Taylor Swift single is absolute fire. I'm just seeing a lot of incendiary and violent language here.
Agents always need to be on their toes and ready to make snap decisions.
Is there anything I can do for you guys?
Actually, David, there is something you can do for us.
Chicken nuggets.
Chicken nuggies.
What?
Cheeseburger.
Cheeseburger. McDonald's cheeseburger.
Burger King.
Burger King cheeseburger.
Flame broiled.
And chicken nuggets.
Oh, baby, know you're gonna like it. I wanna be your beaver pilot. Said, honey, know you're gonna like it. I wanna be.
Awesome, right?
Is this a loner?
This thing's totally legit.
What is this? It's got windows!
Well,
hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi. Look, it's been a while and everything worked. I can't believe it.
Are we muting ourselves?
No, we do not.
No, okay. Hello.
Yep.
How exciting.
Not at all. You have control.
Yes.
When do I ever have control?
When do you ever have control?
I have the power.
That's what the little boys wanted in the 1980s. They did not have the power, and He-Man promised the power. Power of voodoo. Hoodoo?
Yeah, that whole thing with the sword was fake. That wasn't real. We tried.
The power of Grayskull.
Yeah.
That power.
By the power of Grayskull.
By the power of Grayskull.
Second line was, I have the power.
On that episode of Toys That Were Made for Us. That was the name of the episode for Netflix. And it was discussing different toys and where and how and, all the different parts and pieces where they came to be from. And I was talking about Hello Kitty with a customer today, and I said that I'm not sure if I could even make Hello Kitty land in Japan because I don't know if I could handle. Japanese I couldn't even food? Handle the. Couldn't even handle Hello Kitty episode. I was so emotional. I kept crying. Pause, and cry, and breathe.
Really?
Just too much. It was too wonderful. I don't think I could handle Hello Kitty Land. Shock the whole.
Your mic is doing funky things on the video. That's
Isn't
cool.
it?
Yeah, it
That's
is.
neat.
That is way cool. I have no idea what the hell's going on there, but I kind of like it.
Yeah.
I can't tell you like what it's showing. What underworld is this? Is this
It's
Dune?
I thinking you have the
Some sort of filter on.
yeah, exactly. All right. You talk, I'll fix.
All right.
That looks cool. I'd say go
But
with it.
like Kathy said, we have all night for foul up, so there's got to be something. So that's the first one.
No. See here, I've been at the store. That's been nice. And it's been beautiful weather. Oh, no more fun. No more fun for me. Yeah. Yeah. It's been a really nice week. Today wasn't really cool or anything, but Benji's bicycle or tricycle. Benjamin's trike got stolen.
Right out of the yard, huh? That sucks. Like people that steal things suck.
So we're sad about that. We're doing our weird issue check-ins with shops to sell it, and Michael spent all day walking the.
Yeah. We got a hot lead, so I went home. I ended up changing my shoes because I'm not going to deliver bullets to anyone wearing Crocs. I mean, that's just, disrespectful.
Yeah, right.
So,
You have proper shoes on to deliver those things.
yeah.
What?
So,
This man is obsessed.
yeah, we were given a hot lead. So,
Yeah, that was
turns
cool.
out it was a large area to, cover on foot. And given that we were told that the people were more than likely transient, so looking in other people's driveways and whatnot was kind of a moot point. I had to look in other places that weren't near houses.
Yeah.
You were walking though?
Yeah, after I parked.
Okay.
Yeah, and had to go. I kept to the trails. I didn't go off trail much, but
Gotcha.
there's some deepest, darkest parts of Spinard. That's for sure.
Oh, there are some deep and dark parts of Spinard, that is for sure.
Yeah.
Or yes. Well, Benji's about that.
Yeah, he's so sweet though. He so Michael called my cell and he's like, "Hey Jody, where's the trike?" And I'm like, "It's right in the and
Strange you would just call and ask that, Michael, isn't it?
and he's all like looking at me in the car like, ooh, and I'm like, oh no.
Well,
And then
I was really just saying, there's nothing I can do about it now. We got to go open.
And so poor Benji's like, I don't understand. What happened? What happened? And we walked around. I was like, no, nobody would take, no. And he's just like, well, maybe they needed it. And so he said a prayer, and I was so angry that I let him do it. And he was like, help us find the bike, and please forgive the people who took it. And
May the fleas of 1,000 camels infest their testicles.
yeah, I was like, that's not Benji. Benji's like, well,
It's not Benji.
Not Benji. And I'm just like, well, and it's all the time. It makes me angry because he's like, well, maybe this, or like, especially like with, Michael or something. I'm like, your father. And he's like, well, this and this. I'm like, oh. He's so kind. But he's
No,
sure
he
is
is.
sad. And it was,
Yeah, he is.
I didn't realize the value of the bike until today. I knew we got a good deal on it, but it was an easy 3 trike, summer something, and the average cost is around $1,500.
Oh wow.
And so it has value, and yeah,
Right.
we had pulled it out so that we could like redo it, get the chains all gussied up and whatnot, so I could start running, because like he's been wanting to ride it every single day, and I'm like, you can't ride it. The tires are flat, their chains are jacked up. It's a piece.
Oh.
It's all this and exactly. And now I want Michael to build me a fence,
So it was in the yard.
It was in the driveway.
but like deep in the driveway.
Oh,
Not
right. Yeah.
really.
I mean, yes, it was viewable from the road, so that's kind of on me.
Oh, I know, but
But
I
I
mean,
also
you don't think. I mean, you just
I-
nothing happens like that for a while, and then all of a sudden,
yeah, and I got
does.
complacent. Yeah.
I mean, I remember as a kid. I remember a group of people walking down the street. All of a sudden, they picked up like my little sister, my little brother's big wheel, and just like right in front of us, right?
Oh.
Funny thing was, my dad was a cop, so they didn't get away with that. I remember getting bikes stolen, and then I'd get them back with like different seats and different handlebars on them and stuff. But I ended up getting them back somehow.
Yeah.
They'd always end up coming back around.
Mine was stolen once or twice, but it was stolen by some older kid in the same neighborhood. So it wasn't that hard. And if I didn't get it back by the time Dad got home from work, all I did was call the constable and say, it's over at Jimmy Godfrey's house. And about an hour or so later, a knock on our door, here's Jimmy and his mom and him and his half-ass excuse.
Right.
Yeah. But that happened more than once.
Wow.
Oh, goodness. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, hey, the trial is almost over. Today was closing arguments. The jury now has the case.
Both sides gave their closing arguments?
Oh, yeah. In Massachusetts, the defense goes first,
right?
Commonwealth goes second, and so you don't have this Commonwealth, then the defense, then a rebuttal. You just have the two. So you have the defense first, then the Commonwealth. And
so you have the defense saying they didn't prove nothing, and then the Commonwealth comes on and say, oh, yes, we did. And then they give it to the jury.
Yes. Pretty much. How do I think it went?
Saves a day.
I think that the Aaron Reed's defense attorney kicked ass is what I think. I think the last 3 days of the trial have been just devastating for the prosecution. I got a couple things pulled up, but they just have been. It's just been ridiculous. It really has. So like a couple of days ago, so there was this lady on the stand, and Dr. LaPosada, Elizabeth LaPosada. It's like do you remember the nightclub fire in Rhode Island when Great White burnt down the nightclub?
The fire started while Great White was on stage.
Oh,
Not that they burnt it down.
You got your story. I got my story. All right.
Yeah, we're talking about a court case where pretty much definitions matter.
The singer of Great White turned around with a lighter and lit the curtain on fire. That's the way I remember it. Oh, that's not what happened.
Oh, that's not what happened. Okay.
So she was actually the medical examiner that had to go through all that. So she was a medical examiner for a long, long time. Then she opened up a consulting business, and she spent the entire time on the stand, especially on cross-examination, just crushing the prosecutor. I mean, she kicked his ass like all over the thing. I mean, it was insane how much she
Starting from hello.
Let's look at how this starts out. This is hilarious.
Good afternoon, Dr. La Posada.
6 minutes till the afternoon.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, she's asked to give specific testimony.
Yep. He said, good afternoon. And she's like, nope, you still got 6 minutes, dummy. And that's how it went. Oh my God.
Even though it's after lunch, doesn't matter.
Yeah. So then it gets just crushed throughout the afternoon, the early afternoon, right? She just keeps saying he didn't get hit by a car. He didn't get hit by a car. I don't care what you say, he didn't get hit by a car. So then he decides, well, I want to bring up this, because the press, like after that fire, the press said, well, she didn't show up at the crime scene for 17 hours or whatever.
Yeah, my inspector did.
And she's like, my staff was there. I needed to be in the morgue. What are you talking about? She says, that was the press. We proved to them that we didn't ever, nobody called me. So we proved that. So, and then he asked her about this she opened a consulting business. So let's see if I can find it here.
Consulting practice.
Since 2005?
Correct.
When do you think the last time you did one is?
Maybe.
Okay.
Remember.
Okay. After you resigned, you opened your own company?
Yes, I started an independent consulting practice.
How much of your business is consulting?
It's a consulting practice.
Yep. How much of your business? How much of your income is consulting?
100%. It's consulting.
Do you...
Fair question.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah, attorneys, they got to cover all bases.
She's sticking to her case, boys.
Oh my God. She just kicked his, I mean, it was crazy. Then ARCA, Dr. Rentschler from ARCA, and let's see.
The biomechanist.
Yeah. So this was just one instance here. So this was the...
Oh, yeah.
You remember the blue paint guy?
I do.
Yeah.
Watch this.
See the vehicle starts to slowly back.
Of the car.
I slowed this video down, and so as you can see, as it starts out, and you'll see the vehicle starts to slowly back.
Of the car.
So there was no photographs showing the position of the arm in the back of the car. The video is from the side, and the top video, you can't tell where the arm is positioned against the tailgate. But whatever positions it's at, you can see as the car backs up here, look at the elbow and the upper arm.
So at this point, you think the car is going to hit his elbow?
Probably.
From this position.
Oh, that position?
Not the elbow.
Or the upper arm or the bicep area. Would it hit the bicep and the forearm at this position right here?
But
that didn't seem so.
Right.
Unless
So
it
the car
leads into it, or
back
he's-
directly in this direction.
What was that, Michael?
If he's just standing there, no. But if he's walking across behind the vehicle, I don't know how he wouldn't notice the reverse lights come on.
Or if he's lean, or so,
There
yeah,
would be no
what's
contact
this-
with that elbow or the upper arm. And remember, this test is to show where the paint would transfer and if that correlates to the lacerations.
You mean before you start the video, when you say there would be no contact with the elbow or the upper arm, you mean the biceps area and from the elbow up?
That's correct.
Is that based on the photograph on the right and the positioning of the surrogate?
Exactly. You can see right now, if the car just backed directly straight back, it would not contact the elbow or the upper arm.
Before you play, as the car, just before the car starts to make contact with the
Look at his
surrogate,
terrible
did you know?
posture.
So in order to get that pattern on the arm, right as the car contacts the arm, the surrogate pushes his elbow forward, leans into the car against the light, and then rolls off.
Can you play that?
So that was what they paid $400,000 for. Government of Massachusetts paid $400,000 for this guy to dress up like John O'Keefe and let a car roll into him when he just watch this stuff.
Oh my gosh,
See how he just pushes his arm into
he
it?
does. It's so visible.
Did you see what you were describing in that video?
Now, so you can see even at this
Yes.
point, as the car approaches, it would not contact the elbow or the biceps. So as it comes in, watch the elbow all of a sudden shoot in. Surrogate turns his arm in and then leans against
Get their money back.
What's that?
They need to get their money back. I mean, this is just, and really, again, this is what angers me. Is that this is a
Yep.
stupid waste of money.
Oh yeah, no, it is. It absolutely is. And then, so this is cross-examination. They paid this, and I got to fix this echo here. So I'm going to let this play, and I'm going to come fix it. But this is the prosecutor. This is their case. This is what they're supposed to be doing, right? So and then watch, because it pans over to Karen Reed and her defense, and they're just like, "What is he doing?" But let's. This is during testimony.
Can't wait.
I don't think anything played.
I don't like to share. Share it all. Share. I don't know what you guys.
Happened.
In reading the reports and evaluating the PowerPoint, would you agree there is no statement by Dr. Welcher ever in anything that you reviewed that he is claiming or stating that his pain test was supposed to be a reenactment, identifying the details of how Mr. O'Keefe was standing, moving, or holding his arm at the time of a collision?
He did not state that. That's correct.
So when you've made your criticisms, that you've done testing regarding Dr. Welcher, you don't have any evidence, any statement on it that he was trying to reenact the actual collision.
When I did that, there was one test with the arm like this. That's the only evidence that was presented in his opinion or in his case. I evaluated that. I have not seen any other explanation of what happened or how it occurred. Specifically, Dr. Welcher said in his report on page 9, he said, "I have conducted an accident reconstruction and biomechanical engineering analysis of this matter." If he did not recreate how he was positioned, if he did not determine the speed of impact, if he did not determine how Mr. O'Keefe's body moved, if he did not determine where he ended up, then he did not conduct either an accident reconstruction analysis or a biomechanical causation analysis. He did nothing of the sort.
Other than your opinion, let's get back to my question if I could.
I believe I answered at the beginning of that, sir.
I'm going to ask you again.
Watch. So this basically said they didn't do anything. The test didn't prove anything. That's the prosecution's case. They're supposed to prove what happened, right? Any thoughts, Michael?
Yeah, well, about this, it was pretty ridiculous stuff. The whole thing with the backing up, starting with like the speed she was going. I would like everyone, when they next time they back out of a parking lot, just watch the speedometer. Tell me what you get up to. Is it ever 29 in reverse?
It's hard to get up to 20 miles
We're
or
on a
15
dead
miles
stop.
an hour.
And
Have you ever tried to do that?
Oh,
Like try
The
to get
only
up
way I
to
could
20
think
some
what
miles
could
an hour.
happen is, we're talking January in New England. So maybe if she was slipping on the ice and the
Right.
wheels are spinning, but she's standing still. Maybe.
Exactly. That would
It's
be
like
it.
they say these are numbers from the car's computer, and I'm like, are you telling me they can't be wrong? That car's computer can't be out of calibration? Because I'm positive she wasn't going 29 in reverse ever.
Right. No, exactly. It's preposterous. So he goes on again. Watch their reaction
Objections,
here.
The question is, there is nothing in Dr. Welcher's report or any of his presentation
They have tried 20
that
minutes time.
states he is trying to represent
Word.
the exact
Word,
posture,
word, Polonius.
movement, and stance of Mr. O'Keefe when there was a collision. It's not anywhere in there where he stated that. Is it?
It's not stated. I'd be curious to find out if that wasn't the intent of the test, I'd be curious to see what the actual intent was.
Is the answer no? No, it's not in there.
I think I just said that at the beginning of my answer, sir.
I'm going to ask you again. Is the answer no?
The answer is no.
So this guy was brilliant. He was brilliant at all the comebacks, all the verbal sparring that you have to do to expert test, an expert witness.
Uh-huh.
He was awesome at it. He was just,
he chewed him up and spit him out a couple times.
oh my God. It was crazy. It was so crazy. So then that gets brought up today in the closing, which I will share here. Let's see.
I was kind of appalled at the investigators' lack of looking at the house. Hey,
Right.
you got a dead cop on the lawn. You think maybe he was in that house? We should see if the inside of that house is a crime scene? Nah.
No, exactly.
It's another cop's house. No need. Crimes don't happen in those.
Yep.
Oh, the thing.
Right. No, exactly. So
We found this cocktail glass with him. Think there might be other matching cocktail glasses inside that house? No need to look. Probably not.
no, exactly.
He probably had that with him from the bar because you get to do that.
Oh man. Yeah, so the closing from AJ here, Ernie Jackson was pretty badass. I mean, he stuck to, and last time was a completely different case. The first trial was a completely different trial with all the witnesses they brought out. They brought out Higgins, they brought out Brian Albert, they had Jen McCabe, they had
Michael
witness
Proctor.
after witness after witness. Michael Proctor testified. This time there was no Proctor, there was no Albert. This jury did not get to meet those people, so they didn't get to hear about whether they could or could not have played a role in his death, right? So I think that fact played out better for the defense, because then they could really focus on the investigation and how shoddy and how bad the investigation was.
Right.
And then you've got Proctor, which they never brought on. They never had him testify. They had another cop testify that when he saw the taillight, it wasn't like it was in the pictures that they took later on in Sallyport. He said, that's not how the taillight looked when I saw it when we loaded the car up at her parents' house. So,
They were able to get Proctor's text in, so they know his frame of his mindset when he was the investigator.
Absolutely. They got his whole text string in, just calling her names and
basically all but saying she's the only subject. She's going to be the only subject, or suspect. And that's where we're going from here.
Mm-hmm.
Someone even asked on the text stream, does the homeowner or basically, are they gonna basically crawl up his butt? He's like, nope, he's another cop.
Yeah, here we
Of
go,
course,
right
this
here.
was a potential crime scene. Of course it was. Let's not forget, this was Brian Albert's house, and that comes with privileges. Quote, is the homeowner going to catch any shit? Nope. He's a Boston cop, too. End quote. That quote starts to make a little more sense now, doesn't it? Michael Proctor wrote those words just hours after John's body was found. He sent this in a private chat, in a private text he never, ever believed would ever be revealed. He sent that text in a series of messages that now belong to you. You weren't given the opportunity to hear from Michael Proctor, but you can read his thoughts for yourself.
So that's just, I mean, right there, bam. It's just, yeah. And he actually says the words that Michael Proctor said, because nobody said him on the stand. They just said the C word. He actually said the C word. Like the full thing. I'm not going to play it because.
Yeah, there was, when the text message came in, there was, another cop who is like lifelong friends with Michael Proctor or whatever.
Yeah, and he wasn't even a cop. Yeah, he wasn't even a cop. No, he was just a friend.
And they're having him read Proctor's text, and he gets to the point and goes, do I have to read these? These aren't my words, and I don't agree with the sentiment here.
Oh.
Well, so the attorney said, no, how about I'll read them, and you could just verify that I'm reading them accurately or not.
Right. Oh.
So they did. They focused on the investigation and the science, and they basically said that
and they crafted their defense to make it the possibilities more open, instead of saying that Brian Alpert and Higgins are the ones that beat him up and left him for dead. They're saying he wasn't hit by the car.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, they're saying it's basically we don't know what happened, right? Or they don't kind of.
They don't have to give their theory, and they're not.
Correct. And they didn't this time. The first time they did. They gave a lot more of their theory the first time. This time they insinuated it. They got it in when they could in testimony, but it was all insinuation. Then here they said, we don't exactly know what happened, but he didn't get hit by a car. He said, and this was another thing here.
Scratch and bite wounds. Not a single medical expert. Think about this. Not a single medical expert called by the defense or called by the Commonwealth has testified that John was hit by a car. Not one. Think about the irony. Not one.
I mean, that's huge. The Commonwealth didn't find a medical expert that would say he got hit by a car. I mean, yeah, the Commonwealth here.
So is there going to be a third trial figuring out what happened to him?
Well, for the Commonwealth, kind of like the O.J. Simpson case. I remember the losers press conference with Marcia Clark and Christopher Darden after the verdict was read, and they were asking, some idiot reporter was asking if they were going to go, find someone else to go charge with the murders, and they're like, "You're kidding, right? All the evidence said OJ did it."
Yeah, exactly.
We can't just railroad someone else now. So if they honestly believe it's still a homicide, Jody, and they have a suspect that the evidence points to, if this ends in another hung jury, they could, assuming it's worth the cost, because they got to weigh that too. They could try Karen Reed an infinite number of times till they get a final verdict.
Yep. We could keep doing this for the next decade.
Well, yeah. I wasn't thinking her being in the third trial. I was thinking.
Well, sure. If they have evidence that points to another suspect.
But what you're saying is all their evidence is pointing to say.
That's where they put all their energy
right, and
towards.
They're not looking at it.
And I think any of that evidence of another person's gone because they refuse to investigate the inside of the house,
right? Because
and what have you.
It's like if you choose not to even attempt to investigate.
Right.
Oh, I see. Uh-huh. Yes, if they're not even going to attempt to investigate so they can say our investigation didn't find that, they're basically
No, and I mean, but if this is a hung jury again, that's what I was saying. If this is a hung jury, they could come back and try again. They could. Insane.
But this investigation has already cost the Commonwealth a lot of money.
Millions.
And I think it's going to take a lot of putting thought and energy towards bringing this, dog and pony show up forward again.
This was a good part right here.
Damaged by striking an arm. And John was not struck by a 6,000-pound SUV. Period. Full stop. Dr. Dan Wolf did the testing on the taillight. Actual testing, not some ridiculous blue paint kindergarten project.
Yeah, agree.
I mean, that was so good. I mean, just stuff like that was just blasted all through his closing was great. It really was. It was freaking awesome. It was and then Mr. Hank tried to do it. Let's see if I he did bring up that push his arm. Let's see. Really? Oh, trying to.
Taxpayer money to hire someone to dress up and look like John and paint his arm blue. Which told you exactly nothing.
So, and then the one thing too, you can kind of see it right here as they start to fall away from this.
His arm blue.
So they use the screen. Okay, so every time they brought up something, they had what they were calling reasonable doubt cards, right? And so every time they brought up a point that was reasonable doubt, they would they'd show a card and then it would like fall into a stack. So it would like show it stacking up. I mean, they did this whole visual thing with their closing too that we couldn't see. They didn't show it on the broadcast, but I guess it was pretty cool because they just showed you, how much reasonable doubt there was. Whole freaking thing.
I see.
And then the prosecution's closing was it was bad. He didn't mention anything.
I want to see
about,
some of it.
Okay.
She had enough alcohol to affect her ability to operate a motor vehicle safely, but you will know that she was far beyond the legal limit. After the retrograde analysis, almost 2 to 3 times the legal limit. Judd Welcher, doctor, exactly step by step where he went. And how do we have that? Well, we know the defendant's car had like a black box, and Judd Welcher, Dr. Judd Welcher took the data from the black box and downloaded it so you can see the movements in the trigger and events.
Did.
And then Shannon Burgess, well, you don't like what he says, don't attack the data, attack the man. He can be mocked for his LinkedIn profile or his unupdated CV, but what
that was the guy that said he had a bachelor's degree but didn't actually have a bachelor's degree.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Been working on it for 17 years.
Yeah, 17 years. Oh, Jody, you sound so much better now.
Oh.
Awesome. Yeah, the dial is what the side you got to talk into. That's what was going on. You kept cutting out, and so now you sound wonderful. You sound like yourself now.
Hooray!
he puts on Waze, high location data, as Ian With would say.
So let's see. The best part of his thing was he actually played some of her clips. Which, if you're ever accused of murder, shut up. It is Friday. Okay, I'm just give me a moment here. I'm gonna. It's Friday, so we should just, if you're ever investigated by the cops, something that you can do. But this one, I don't know what this one is, but let's try it.
Yeah.
Important announcement. The script, the only 25 words we've been preaching for 10 years has changed. We've added 4 more words. It is now 29 words, and it goes like this. What do you say, big brother, when the cops come up to you and pull you over?
Why'd you pull me over?
And when they ask any questions at all, what do you say?
I'm not discussing my day.
And they keep asking questions, what do you say?
Am I being detained or am I free to go?
And if detained, what do you have to say?
I invoke the 5th. I want my lawyer.
And then if they keep questioning you, what do?
Shut the up.
You use those 29 words politely. Those 4 words.
Because if you invoke the 5th without saying you want a lawyer and they keep asking you questions and you break, you've waived your right. Once you ask for a lawyer, they have to stop questioning you, and if they don't and get you to break, then we could potentially get all that thrown out of court.
Important announcement.
Wow.
I love these guys.
Yeah, those guys are stoners, and they call themselves Pot Brothers Attorney at Law.
Yep.
Nice.
Oh, shoot.
The guy takes like this bong hit dab before he goes to court. It's kind of hilarious.
It is. These guys are great. I want the non-edited.
You should listen. I gotta look up his name real quick. There's another about a 40-minute YouTube.
Yeah. So this is if you're working for an unlicensed dispensary.
An illegal dispensary, and it gets raided, you need to shut the fuck up. If you shut the fuck up, you have a good chance that we can make the case go away. Case in point, 3 employees of an illegal shop were busted during a raid. 2 of them said, "Oh, I'm just volunteering here." The 3rd guy shut the fuck up, and the DA did not prosecute the guy who shut the fuck up. They can't prove what you were doing there. If you're a customer, patient, walked in to go to the bathroom, they don't know. You got to shut the fuck up, and it's Shut the Fuck Up Friday, so review the script. What do you say when the cop first pulls you over?
Why'd you pull me over?
And when he keeps asking questions?
I'm not discussing my day.
And they ask more questions?
Discussing my day with you.
Am I detained or am I free to go?
And if detained, what do you say?
Free to go.
I invoke the 5th.
And then what do you do?
Invoke the 5th, and I want my lawyer.
Shut the fuck up Friday. Never answer questions when the cops ask.
Have safe holidays.
Tip of the
I love those guys. They're my favorite.
Wakanda. Yeah.
If you do just a quick Google search with never talk to the police, the first one that comes up, that about a 46-minute seminar a guy gives, worth a watch.
Okay. Good call. All right. So, I got to share. So, yeah. So, there's a little more of I'm trying to find some highlights, but there's not really many highlights. The best, I mean, he did play some of her statements, and that's what I got to the shut the fuck up thing, because you just got to, you can't go on the press and say shit that's going to get taken out of context, right? Because that's what it was. A lot of this stuff was so we talked about the battery.
The battery temperature was 82 degrees. They're now in a car.
But it's just, he's all over the place. He's like,
And it all lines up with the cell phone after you synchronize the times. It's that simple. It's nothing complicated. There's nothing tricky. There's nothing devious about it. It's data. They do the 3-point turn, and you can match the cell phone clock with the Lexus clock. And when you do, you can reconcile the difference. There's been a lot of talk, a lot of argument, a lot of fight. Mr. O'Keefe has about 8 more minutes before the beginning.
If I can find one of the clip, or did he say?
Tweeted each other. Could we have slide 1, please? At the Waterfall Bar, when you see John O'Keefe, do that. But Karen Reed will do that for her. So if we listen to slide 2, she'll tell you exactly what she thinks about that claim.
my alcohol intake's probably about 5 or 6 or 4. The drinks that they reported at McCarthy's, which is where I consumed most of the alcohol, was the weakest flat tonic. It tasted just like old soda water with lime.
I hope the sound was better there because you can't really hear it on the
I had trouble
TV.
understanding her.
Yeah, exactly. Every time they played one, every time they played one, you couldn't really hear it. But yeah, he's just all over the place. He does though. He gets in. Here's a very important point that he made. Let's see. Really?
Sandwich and stand independent and effective. I asked.
So they're talking about the ARCA witness, the one that just beat this guy up and down the aisle for a day and a half, right? Like Dr. Rensler just crushed him. Well, at one point he asked Doctor about the first time he testified. After he testified, he went to, they had like a lunch or something, right? With the defense. He was testifying for the defense. The defense was giving a ride to the airport. He said, come on over, have a sandwich, and then we'll take you to the airport. He's like, okay. So he's like talking to people. They're asking him, because he's done testifying. He's done testifying. He can talk about what he testified, right? Well, that was a big sticking point for this guy. And so we asked him, he gets all indignant about him saying he had a ham sandwich. Well, he gets to bring that up in the thing.
Just ask him about it. And he says, I have a sandwich and I stand in the corner until I remind him that we got video footage from a documentarian and he's in one of the scenes.
Ooh, video footage.
Change. So when you talk about objectivity,
so it's basically what Brennan did was he brought up his questions as evidence, right? He said, well, I asked him this question, and go back and you look at the testimony, it didn't do what he's suggesting it did. He's suggesting that it was some big Perry Mason moment.
Right.
Yeah.
So your big Perry Mason moment is about a ham sandwich, dude? Really?
this is how his feet was. He was trying to show whether or not the orientation. Could this happen with the angle, with the height? That's all that test was. It was no more. But what they do is they reposture it, repackage it, and say it means this when it doesn't, and we're going to show you why it's not that, therefore.
So answer me this, guys. If that test was not to show that, why did the doctor write that that was a accident reconstruction? Anybody have an answer?
Well, I mean, was it an accident reconstruction?
Judd Welcher wrote that he did an accident reconstruction.
Right.
He wrote that in his report.
And is the question, why do we think he qualified that as an accident reconstruction when it was more like a possibility of what could have happened?
And prosecution is now saying that that wasn't actually supposed to show you what happened. So if it's not supposed to show you what happened, how is that an accident reconstruction?
How is that helpful?
Right? How is that helpful to the prosecution's case?
This isn't what happened, but pay attention.
Yeah.
There'll be a quiz later.
So yeah, it was bad. I mean, it was
6,000-pound Lexus, Ms. Reed, when she chose to drive back at Mr. O'Keefe in that night with a 6,000-pound Lexus, in that anger, 75%, whether she meant to hit him or not, didn't mean to kill him, she hit him. Straight, it is a plain and strong likelihood of death. You would never back down your driveway if your kids were at the end of the driveway. You'd say, well, you're going to kill somebody? You would never do it because you would expect, if you drove at them at that speed, that someone would die. That's second-degree murder. OUI manslaughter, she's drunk, she was reckless. She doesn't have to know she hit him. She doesn't even have to know she hit him. But she did. She did. And she left a man who was kind and generous.
So, I mean, we don't know how it happened, but she hit him, is basically what he said. That was the point of his closing. We don't know. I'm not sure
how. We don't know when. We don't know who, but she did it.
Yep. Yeah.
We even busted up her taillight to show you.
In every test that they did, every test that ARCA did, and they hit that thing with the dummy arm multiple times. The taillight is 5 millimeters thick. There's an inch gap, and then there's a 3-inch diffuser, right? The diffuser is how the light gets cast throughout the taillight, right? So without the diffuser, it's just, you'll have little pinpoint lights because that's what LEDs do, right? You need that diffuser to spread the light around, to spread it around. So every test they did, the diffuser was still intact after the car hit even at 29 miles an hour, they couldn't get the diffuser to come out. Well, they're saying that this car hit John's arm so hard that it broke out the taillight and the diffuser, but it didn't break his arm. He didn't even have a bruise. All he had was those little superficial abrasions on his arm.
From the dog.
Yeah, from the way. Yeah, exactly. From the dog. And they're saying that that's impossible. There's no way that an arm could do that much damage to a taillight and not have any injuries to it and not have broken bones or broken bones in your hand, at least, right? That's the medical data. So
I'll be right back.
Okay. So did you listen to this at all today, Michael, or no?
No, I didn't have time. I was busy.
Okay. Yeah. Right. So, yeah, that was it. We'll see.
How long deliberations take?
Yes. If there's a holdout, if there's because you could potentially have some people that are, I like to call them state stooges.
Yeah.
They're going to believe what the state says. She's here, so she did something.
Watching on social media, I would say just the people of Massachusetts are about 50-50. Some are just as sure as the prosecutor is, she did it. And then others are pretty much holding the picket sign saying free Karen Reed.
I think it's farther on the not guilty side. I mean, there is no polls or anything that are anything under 80-20, dude. Like, you see an online poll, you see anything, even Court TV. Court TV is like, a lot of the announcers on Court TV are pro prosecution, and those polls are 80-20. I mean, it's but in Massachusetts, I think there was a Boston paper poll that was pretty close to that too. It was pretty close to 80-20. So I don't know. I think if anything, you would have a hung jury. I don't think you're not going to get a conviction of
I'd say she
second-degree
still
murder.
When this is final and she's not convicted, she probably needs to leave state.
Probably
needs to relocate.
I
don't know where she's going to go and not be Karen Reed after you've been through this famous of a nationwide coverage and whatnot.
Now, I didn't realize she worked for Fidelity. Pretty cool. I have a Fidelity account. That's who does my retirement through work, is Fidelity. So, and I guess she had some help from some of her old coworkers, because I mean, this has cost her millions, dude. And the lawyers aren't even really charging her, right? The Yannetti and Jackson and Alessi said Alessi's totally doing this pro bono, because he's like, this is a miscarriage of justice. I'm not going to watch this. I'm going to do this for free. I don't think the lawyers are really getting paid. They're getting reimbursed for their, travel and the hotels or wherever they're staying, right? And Yanetti's local, so he's got an office, but
they ended up with a gift for a juror consultant in this case.
Yes. Yeah, a juror from the first trial.
Yeah, I don't think there's a trial lawyer in this country that wouldn't love to have that in their pocket every time they go up to defend somebody.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, let's see. I got
yeah, all the fundraising went to ham sandwiches and stuff for.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, experts, food. Yeah, the experts got food, travel, because I mean that's going to be $1 million probably thing anyway. It's in its own right.
Didn't he?
Shit.
Didn't Brennan try getting into a witness about basically a witness being paid or basically like repaid for expenses, what have you?
The ARCA witnesses.
And that is such a normal thing.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, no, they they testified. They have a right to be paid, for the
prosecution has to pay for witnesses.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that if there's ever nothing burger to bring up, that's a big one.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's. Oh yeah, this was. Edit. Had something pulled up and then I lost it. So. Yeah, never mind. All right. So, yeah, and I mean, pretty much the lawyers that watched it too were in agreement. Basically said it was pretty bad as far as especially Brennan's. Yeah, because Brennan was like, he was Patty, sums it up. It's like Jackson's was a banger and Brennan's was puts you to sleep basically because he's all over the place, right? Hard to follow. He's talking about, well, this data says, this data and this data. Throwing out these little things like like he did all trial basically,
right.
The debris field and they found shards of glass and found shards of plastic and it was in his shirt and it's just I like how so at one point saying that Welcher when he testified said there were no x-rays of the arm. The arm wasn't x-rayed. Well, it turns out yes they did x-ray the arm. And I think that's one of the reasons they couldn't call Welcher back because they were going to hammer him on the x-rays, right? Because he said there were no x-rays of the arm. Well, they proved that yes, there were x-rays of the arm, and they've had the x-rays of the arm since the first trial. Like ARCA had those x-rays. And Brendan seemed to come back, well, are there any MRIs? Like, no. Well, soft tissue damage shows up on an MRI, right? Do you know if there's any soft tissue damage? And it's like, you mean like bruises that would show up? I mean, what are you asking? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, but jury, you have 12 different personalities. Is Jody coming back? Oh. Yes.
Don't just get to back out.
Yeah, exactly. What the hell? Oh yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I was gonna have her
Sing.
one more thing. Yeah, I was gonna have her sing a song.
Johnny! Oh, good. We're gonna have you sing a song.
Yeah, we're gonna have you sing.
All right.
Whatever you. Actually, not really. Only one more story.
Well, go ahead. Go ahead. Let her sing.
Okay. Do you want to sing?
No,
I don't have anything prepared.
I have nothing prepared. I am your singing telegram.
Bang! Hello, Robbie.
So this says that alcohol consumption is into a permanent decline.
I have been busy.
Permanent.
Right. Exactly.
Nothing's permanent except death and taxes.
So
well, hockey season is over.
Right. But so they're saying applying population is global alcohol consumption peaked in 2016. So almost 10 years ago at 25.4 billion liters. It has dropped 13% since. So I think it is. Well,
is Ireland still carrying the curve?
Your jokes are dated and old.
They're still Irish.
Because you went there.
So what do you think? Why do you think we're seeing a down in alcohol
Jody,
consumption?
What's the favorite thing you brought home from that Ireland trip?
Whiskey. All right, what's your question, Rob?
Rests.
Shut. You're supposed to testify against me, Michael.
I was.
What was your question, Robbie?
Why is alcohol since 2016? So they're saying that
has everyone went to weed?
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Different
Yeah,
places.
a lot more states are got that going now.
I'm thinking it's either mushrooms, weed, or sobriety.
Yeah. So this is what I was trying to share. Beer consumption topped out in 2016 has been on the.
Interesting.
So yeah, I think weed being legal has probably contributed to that. I think I don't know. I think the pandemic probably could have played into seeing an increase in alcohol sales, not a decrease, but
maybe for a spike in the moment, but maybe afterwards there were some long-term stepaways from all the alcohol because it was so highly consumed. Just thoughts.
Right. How much? Yeah, because how many people out there are social drinkers? And when you take away the social part of drinking.
Right. Yeah.
Well, and you look at the age and just the sheer number of transients living in tents in modern cities and whatnot, and their money to spend on the hooch. I mean, I realize that the stereotype of the hobo drinking with their bottle in the brown paper bag and whatnot, but I can't imagine this many people not with a place to live, out of work, what have you, still finding money to go spend on booze. So that's a large number of people no longer in the market for it.
And who do you think? So who do you think is the biggest drinking population?
College age kids.
Right. And Gen Z, the ones that are now turning the age to be able to drink, are not drinking as much either.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Gen Z is like.
Well, every generation, it kind of flows, the pendulum flows. So if we had, say, the overly, like the Jersey Shore, MTV Summer House, Girls Gone Wild, we have all this toxic consumption and just blah, blah, blah. And then it kind of peters out to this, and now it's going towards this. So it'll swing back. But I think we're swinging more towards like, why would I do that when I could go on a walk or
right,
plant a garden? I think they're more old souls right now.
I think so too. I think this factors contributing to the trend, say health awareness, changing, evolving social norms.
Yeah, that's what I think.
The pandemic limiting social interactions that people haven't gone back to the same way.
Right. Yeah.
Good call. Yeah.
The way a nightclub's parking lot used to be full, and it still hasn't recovered to as full as it used to be before shutdowns.
But the farmers market is packed.
Yeah. But even if it is there, an individual person's time at the farmer's market is still only, like minute. The market may be open for 4 hours on Saturday, but a person's only spending 15 minutes there once they've done every booth, and then, just cycle more people out. Whereas if you went to the nightclub, everyone there spent 7 hours there.
Well, that's at Coots. That wasn't necessarily that bars downtown.
Or
you spent 7 hours nightclub hopping.
Oh man, when I was 21, that's where I was. I was at Coots from 21 to like 23.
Well, I mean, because like if it's a big place like Coots, yeah, you just stay there. But if you're downtown, you're clubbing, you're hopping.
Yeah. There was I had the Coots, I had the underground.
I came of age in Hawaii for this, and I can remember Monday mornings. Of course, I'm passed out on the couch in the back room, but I've got 7 different stamps on my hand, like 2 extra wrist bracelets and whatnot.
Oh, yeah. Turned 21 in Ohio. I turned 21 in Anchorage.
No, Hawaii.
Or Hawaii. What did I say?
Yeah.
Ohio.
No shit.
No, I was like, that's the Buccaneers Club, and
yeah.
Oh, I want to say
Hawaii. Sorry.
On this date in 1970, just before we're done. On this date in 1970, a young baseball player by the name of Doc Ellis showed up to what's now called Qualcomm Stadium to pitch his game against the Padres. He played for Pittsburgh Pirates. Only he found out that he pitched yesterday and threw a no-hitter, but he couldn't remember doing so because he was high on acid for it.
Yep. Oh my God, I remember. Yeah, I don't remember that, but I heard the story. He pitched on.
He
LSD.
showed up the next day, ready to go to work, and he's like, "What do you mean I played yesterday?"
Oh my God.
You, sir, have a problem.
Yes. Okay. So, all right, we're done. But Patty shared this. This every time they cut away from the trial, like if they were going to sidebar or if they were going to lunch, they would click over to the fan, right? And so this Lynn Marie is a artist and a cartoonist, and she's actually written and I bought one of her comic books for the trial. So she's basically drawn all these pictures, and she's put out some really cool comic books. So yeah, so I actually picked one up, and so she put these little things. So she drew the fan. I think that's
yeah.
Yeah.
She definitely had plenty of clip to look at for the.
Yeah. I think I bought the comic book that was about the judge. So off of Amazon, you can get them on Amazon. So
do you see the lady? They're doing the spoof of the judge, and she looked just like her.
Oh yes.
The skits.
Oh my God. Yeah.
God, she was a riot.
Yeah. No, there's quite a few good comedy bits. All right, kiddos.
All right.
We'll see what happens. I should be back on Monday.
Yeah.
Hell of it. Why not?
Why not?
Do that. And I'll be editing the show. We'll be releasing that soon.
Very cool.
I meet with a surgeon on Thursday. That's fun.
Hi, Jody.
Bye.
Have a good night. You meet with a surgeon on Monday, huh? Monday.
Yeah. Doctor gave me a fun diagnosis of severe arthritis in my left knee, which just came on like a light switch about a month ago.
Yeah, it did. It came on quick for you, dude.
Yeah, it was went from everything's fine to no, this is debilitating. Yeah.
Well, good luck on that.
Yeah.
We'll find out. We'll find out next week how it goes. I'll ask you, and we'll.
Well, yeah, it'll be candidate for surgery or candidate for pain pills. Who knows?
Yeah. No, exactly.
I'd rather much just go through physical therapy or something that would get me through it than experience the joy of being cut open again.
Ugh.
And then when I just think of knee replacement, and I ask, what is that? And well, they take out the knee that you have and put in something else that works as your knee after that.
I've heard
that doesn't sound pain free.
It works really well. It's no pain, no gain. I know your thing is no pain, but
wait, that's true. That works out.
But this pain actually makes it better in the long run. It does.
Yeah. And I've had my leg in a cast before. It feels like forever when you're going through it. It really does. So if I'm like no weight bearing for any amount of time, I guess my upper body will bulk up from the crutches, but get me one of those scooters I could mow people down in. Hey, out of the way.
Yeah.
I'm walking here.
You realize that scene was ad-libbed?
I thought it was not ad-lib so much as it was
it was a mistake.
Not
I mean, like
scripted,
he was just not scripted. Yeah, it was not scripted. He just
might as well have not even been filming or whatnot,
Right. Like the guy was
it's just that's a normal thing he would say in that situation.
Yeah. Yeah, like the here it is. It wasn't even scripted. Like the guy just up. Let me see if
Hey, I'm walking here. And then Lieutenant Dan did the same thing.
Hey, I'm walking here. I'm walking here. Up yours, you son of a bitch. You don't talk to me that way. Get out of here. Don't worry about that. Actually, that ain't a bad way to pick up insurance,
Yeah, exactly. Just not. Yeah, have no permit to film. You're doing that. So.
Oh yeah, that's come back and bought or bit several filmmakers in the butt before not having a permit.
Yes.
Like you're filming a bank robbery scene and then people report an actual bank robbery.
You see that on the screen there, Michael? My mom's calling you out.
Both done at the same time?
Jeez.
Ouch, dude. No, I don't.
Calling you out.
Well, I had my ankle rebuilt in 20 years ago, and that hurt. That did not tickle at all.
Oh, it doesn't tickle.
It hasn't really yet. So. All right, kids.
All right. Thank you guys. Thanks everybody for hanging out, and we'll check you next week.
Yep.
Good night.
Introducing Agent Charles Walker from the Federal Enforcement Division, or Fed.
Misinformation is getting to be a very serious problem. It really interferes with what we are trying to do.
And what are you trying to do?
Excellent question. I'm afraid that's classified. You don't have the clearance.
Agent Walker is always a team player and appreciates the efforts of his colleagues.
You know those bum idiots. This is all them. We had a solid case.
Agent Walker is a master interrogator and would never take things out of context to influence an interview.
My cousin Mindy is the bomb. I'm just seeing a lot of incendiary and violent language here. Somebody could see a call to action in these words.
A call to action for what?
Well, you tell us. They're your words. You wrote them.
Agent Walker, a calm, patient presence in the fight against misinformation.
These people can't even do stuff that's actually good enough for government.